Join Sean and Brad as they talk about sports and share a beer. From the east coast of Canada to the west coast of the United States. Over to you, boys.
Everybody, what's good with you? Hey, Brad, guys, beer sports with me as always. Sean Valancourt. Brad Tesh coming to you from, the United States. I'm in the Midwest today. Sean's still in Toronto, as you may have noticed, based on his locale. Sean, looking fresh today. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to our interview. I ended up doing it there, but that's just because of scheduling conflicts. But
that's how we're going to jump in. We're just going to throw him under the bus just like that to start it.
You're a busy man, Brad. I mean, that's not running you under the bus, is it?
No, it's not running under the bus at all.
You know, Brad's a busy man. Brad has 5 children, and he's a dedicated father. So, I mean, hats off to this man. This is a great human being. Yeah, you know. And he looks so fresh. I'm
living out of a suitcase right now, and I still look like this. What's your excuse?
I look great all the time. What are you talking about?
You're an honorary Tesh?
That's it. Hey, man. We have a great interview with Emmanuel McGirt, offensive tackle with the Edmonton Elks, and of course an alumni of the North Carolina State Wolfpack. So looking forward to that.
Coming up here in a minute.
That's right. But before all that, I wanted to get your reaction to the NBA trade deadline, Brad.
I thought there were some fascinating things that happened. I'll tell you that. There was a lot of movement from teams that I think don't typically move. The trade deadline, like the Mavericks and the Trailblazers were involved. And so, I think that really reset the lane for what it is. I'm really excited for this Brooklyn Nets trade. You got that James Harden was a good fit. They were going to win. They played 16 games together with Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. I think they were 13-3 in those games. James just isn't motivated, I think, like they would have hoped. So, and a motivated Ben Simmons makes them better. So that'll be an interesting matchup to watch. Hopefully they meet in the playoffs. I think that'd be a fun series. Little James Harden, dual Embiid with a KD. And,
yeah. I mean, I think they'll still make the playoffs. I don't know if they're going to make any noise in it, but
who? Which team now?
The Nets.
You don't think the Nets are going to make any noise if they've been held to Kevin Durant?
Do you think he's going to be healthy though by the playoffs?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got 3 months still.
Yeah. I mean, if he's healthy, if you have a healthy Kevin Durant, then yeah, they're going to make some noise. But right now where they're sitting, it's like they're in a play-in division along with the Raps, Celtics right now.
Speaking of the Raptors, did you see the little dust-up between Patrick Beverley and my favorite Raptor, Gary Trent Jr.?
Yeah, what's going on there, eh?
There was apparently just some bad blood from previously, and so Gary Trent walked down to the Minnesota sideline and used all their talc powder and their shoe mats, and that was frowned upon by Patrick Beverley, so they received double technical fouls before the jump ball. It's been a while since we've seen pre-jump ball tech fouls. So.
Yeah.
It's entertaining.
I was just thinking maybe he was upset that he got traded away from the Clippers there. So,
yeah, it was earlier. Those two go back and forth. When they were in the Clippers and Gary was in Portland, they had some back and forth too. So it's not a new rivalry.
Yeah. So Portland obviously has stated that we're not doing anything this season, so they trade away all their good talent.
Not all their good talent, sir.
You hold on to one. That's it. But
the one, though, right? I mean,
yeah. But what are you going to do with that? Like, I don't know. Is there a lot of signings coming Portland's way? I don't know. Like, I don't know how they're going to make this work here.
They just cleared $60 million in cap space for the summer.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it, right? Because I mean, there's going to be some catches, but I mean, how are you building this team? I guess what it comes down to it. It just seemed a little weird, especially getting rid of McCollum. I understood why they got rid of Norm Powell because, he had a little bit of injuries and it's just like, not performing to the level that they thought, I guess. So
well, they were paying CJ McCollum as an actual all-star. CJ had never been an all-star.
Yeah.
Dave were making the same money.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting enough.
I love CJ and Norman, but I think this is the move. Better than a full reset next year.
Now, the 76ers, did they get better with James Harden?
James are they going to get?
What's that?
That's the question is what James are they going to get? That's the move, right?
Well, that's it.
Which James that they end up with. The James Harden that left Brooklyn, the last 2 weeks of his tenure there didn't seem to be glowing. After a Utah game, he made a detour to Vegas and then was late for the Clippers game and he had 4 points in. And then went to Houston in the off day between there and Minnesota and then didn't play when he arrived in Minnesota, arrived late to the game.
Yeah.
But then magically got healthy. So I don't know if you saw did you happen to see the end of the, now the 2 captains for the All-Star Team 16? Yeah, that's right. That's the format.
Yeah, and then with James Harden being picked last. Yeah, and they're both chuckling about it there, LeBron and Durant.
It came down to Durant having to choose between Mr. Harden and somebody else. I thought that was fun.
It was kind of funny. It was funny. I mean, that's where you're at, though, right? I don't know. Well, it's going to be
now post All-Star break, which is I think is this weekend. I think you'll really start to see the divisions ramp up. The East is definitely the strongest division, Phoenix
easily. Phoenix is definitely the best team. Warriors is right behind them. I mean, the Grizzlies are scaring everybody. I mean, what a good team that is too. But I mean, after that, it's a huge drop off. It's a huge drop off after that.
Yeah.
Where in the East, everybody is like, you're fighting tooth and nail in there because there's just so much talent.
Yep.
But anyways, absolutely, yeah, you're right. NBA All-Star is happening right now, so this weekend.
Hey,
so
can you turn your head to the side again? Are you wearing earrings? Do you have earrings in?
You just recognize that right now? Yeah, I got my little yeah.
Look at you, Sean. Turning back the hands of time. Actually, I almost put some studs back in right before I left to come on this trip, but when I went to get them out of the jewelry box, I think my girls have been in there, and I only could find one, so I left them out. But I almost started mine too. We should have talked about this. We could have coordinated.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Hey, without further ado, let's get to this interview.
Yeah, sounds great, everyone. Emmanuel McGirt, offensive tackle, Edmonton Elks. Right, Edmonton Elks?
You got it.
Man, look at me learning stuff.
Hey, everybody. I am so excited for our very special guest here, Mr. Emmanuel McGirt. Emmanuel McGirt is going to be playing his first season coming up on the Edmonton Elks, coming up here in the CFL. Also, very accomplished college football player as well, offensive lineman. And the funny thing is that I met Emmanuel walking in downtown Toronto, these 3 giant-sized men. And I'm not a small guy myself, but these 3 giant-sized men are walking by. I'm seeing them in Edmonton Elks equipment, like sweatpants, sweat gear, everything. And I'm like, hey, are you guys playing football? And your other 2 buddies that walked away, they were hungry. And you actually took time to talk to me and my friend there, Daniel. And so I really appreciated it. That was awesome.
Yeah. Here we are, right?
Oh, I mean, right now we look like we're the same size, and it's completely Zoom editing. I don't know. It's like Emmanuel is 6'5", and you got to be close to what, 300 now, or
about 6'5.5", 320. Yeah, about 320.
Wow. Man, but
Very heavy.
what a gentle person you were on the street. Take that time to talk to us. Just a great demeanor about you. And
I appreciate that, man.
yeah, well, I'm so happy that we ended up following each other on Twitter. And man, I'm excited. You're going to be playing in the CFL coming up, but it's been a long road for you. First off, what got you into football? I mean, I know every American plays football, right? But
I
what
mean,
got you into
I've
it?
been playing football. Yeah, I've been playing football my whole life, man. I started playing for the Bull City Lions in the 4th grade. My parents kind of always just threw us in every sport. I played baseball, tennis, basketball, football, soccer, just playing a lot of sports, and kind of fell in love with the game. Really early on, started playing for the Bull City Lions, and I played for the Durham Eagles, and then continued to play in middle school and high school. So just a young kid playing sports. So that's how I ended up playing football.
When did you end up concentrating on the position that you play now? Like, was that early on, or?
I'd probably say it was in high school. I probably loved basketball a little more. In 9th grade, I made the varsity basketball team, so that was like a big deal, and I was like, okay, I guess we're going to the NBA. But as high school kind of progressed, I realized, there are not a lot of 6'5" centers in the NBA, so I kind of went on the football field, and my high school coach really pushed me to play offensive tackle. And honestly, up until that point, like I said, I kind of played football, but I wasn't really, going out there and trying to, actually do something with it. And then in 10th grade, we had a couple guys on our team that were highly recruited, and there was a Clemson coach that came to one of the games. And in 10th grade, it was our playoff game, and I started the last game, and I was this big, tall, lanky, skinny guy, probably about like 230. Wasn't that heavy, but I had good feet. I went out there, kind of did my thing, and I started getting noticed, and I was like, okay, maybe I could do something with this, and I kind of just ran from there with it. So that's how I really got into it.
Wow. And honestly, on the offensive line, to me, that's an unheralded position, but it's probably one of the most important positions if you're going to get any offense done. As like in any football, in order to create lanes, in order to protect the quarterback, all that good stuff. So when you were playing in high school, and just out of curiosity, which high school was that again there?
I played at Hillside High School in Durham, North Carolina.
In Durham. And so when you were playing high school, what was did you guys go to the state championships there, or?
So I came from a pretty good high school program. Unfortunately, I didn't get an opportunity to play in the state championship, but my last year we lost in the state semifinals, so the game right before the state championship. So
right,
was very close. We had a pretty good high school team. We were definitely one of the top programs in the state.
For sure. I mean, high school football in the U.S. is huge, gigantic. I mean, a lot of Canadians I don't think they appreciate the enormous production that is a high school football game.
No, yeah, it's a big deal. Like, I mean, like in Durham, I mean, it was almost like a party every Friday night. Like, people from all over Durham would come to the games, and it was a big deal, a big celebration, and there'd be a lot of fans out there, people from the community in the area, and it was a big deal. We had fish fries at the game and stuff like that, and the bands playing and stuff. So people took the game serious.
How was your travel then up to college? Because you ended up playing for North Carolina State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So in high school, kind of developed, honestly, like, my wildest dreams happened. I never thought I would be this, big time recruit or whatever in high school. And, that kind of, manifested itself. And, I had a lot of opportunities across the country to play, at Georgia or, Florida, all these big schools. But my mom had actually got sick, and my parents lived in Durham. And, NC State was recruiting me really, really hard. And, I really enjoyed the program and the coaches. So, that's where I ended up staying with. So I actually went to NC State, which is like literally 15 minutes from my house. So I stayed close. Yeah. So it's not far at all. So I ended up going to NC State, and I definitely enjoyed my time there for sure.
right?
I've been in North Carolina my whole life.
Yeah. You were redshirted your first season in, if I'm not mistaken, right? You were
Yes, sir.
redshirted right away.
Yep. Yeah, I saw. So I got there, and was honestly was expected to potentially play as a freshman, and then as when you get there, some guys are ready and some guys aren't. I wasn't physically ready, and on top of that, we had a good offensive lineman there at the time playing left tackle, and I got a chance to stay behind him that year. But Joe Tooney, who starts for the Chiefs at guard, he was the left tackle, so we had some pretty good O linemen. So they didn't want to throw me in the fire too early, so I ended up redshirting.
Do you appreciate that, I guess, or was it hard at first?
It wasn't hard, to be honest. I mean, I definitely appreciated it, having that, a year to really understand and, grow in the weight room. And, the next year I had a lot of big expectations, but, honestly, after that first year, those following 2 years, I actually had 2 season-ending injuries. So that next year I was expected to start as a redshirt freshman, and my knee blew out that summer. And I kind of we didn't have that many offensive linemen at the time, so I kind of pushed through it. Played in the first couple of games and ended up getting surgery and missed that season. And then I actually came back and broke my foot the next year and missed that season. So within my first 3 years of college, I had 2 season-ending injuries. So there was definitely a lot of adversity.
For sure.
In my first 2 years in college,
Yeah. Moving on towards that, then, I mean, obviously the goal would obviously be try to play in the NFL, right? But then we were just talking beforehand. You were talking about COVID on your pro day and such, and I'd like you to elaborate on that there.
No, yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, I honestly, like I said, I had a lot of injuries in the beginning of my college career, and I kind of waited to play. I actually didn't really play a lot until my last year. My last year, I got a chance to start, and kind of did my thing. Didn't give up any sacks. I started like 8 games, and after that season, I was okay. I'm about to just kill this pro day and try to nail myself an opportunity. And then COVID hit, which was extremely traumatic. Just I was like, dang, I went through all this stuff in college. And here we are at the end. I can't even get the traditional ending that everybody gets. We have a pro day and things like that of sort. But, I just remained faithful and just kept working. So after the draft, before the draft, I probably got maybe like 3 or 4 calls. I played in the Tropical Bowl, which is one of the senior bowls. It's like 5 senior bowls. I played in one of them. I'm in Florida. Met with some teams down there. Got a couple calls from some teams before the draft, and then the last day of the draft. Obviously, I knew I wasn't going to get drafted, but I knew there was a slim chance that I could possibly get signed. And one team didn't call me, but they did reach out to my agent the next day, and they alerted me if they had a rookie minicamp that I would be going for the Cleveland Browns. And then that minicamp didn't happen because of COVID, so. Didn't have an opportunity to have a pro day, and that pro day would have been a big deal for me because with my injuries and things like that, I needed to show the scouts that I was 100% healthy and things like that. So it was definitely an uphill battle, not having an opportunity to really show what I was working on. So that it was definitely mentally hard, but here I am. So God is good, and I still kept pushing through it, and I'm fighting for every opportunity. So
what kept you centered throughout all that? Because in the end, you're still going to be able to play professional football coming up this season, in Canada, which I want to touch on. But what kept you going through all of that? What kept you centered and grounded? Because a lot of people do tailspin when things happen. So I just want to know.
No, for sure. I mean, I'll definitely say, my family, for one. Well, I mean, obviously God, but, my family kind of created that foundation for me. My dad is actually a preacher. And they really just built that foundation in me. When you're not strong or when you are weak, that's when you're strongest, because that's when you can look on to God and really count on Him. So I just stayed grounded, stayed in my word. Friends, family, my girlfriend, just looking to people for support. And just like I said, just staying grounded and staying in my word and looking to God for strength.
Find it as a faith-based athlete, as a Christian athlete, because I'm in the military, and being faith-based, you're surrounded, because in the military, it's the same, I would imagine, as in the locker room. You got all sorts of talk going on. How would you deal with it when you were in that environment in order to like just stay centered?
In terms of people being like negative or people just
Well,
saying
negative. I mean, there's always like the locker room talk, and
yeah. Well, God. At the end of the day, guys are gonna be guys. We definitely still have that locker room talk of those conversations. But really, it's just trying to just be that light and just show people, kind of show Christ through the way you live, and through the way you love people. Like I know, a lot of my friends, even now, we have Bible studies. We're meeting, talking in the mornings. Just sending them Bible verses, things like that. Just loving on people, really, man.
Yeah. I think that's the most important thing too, right? Is just being able to show who you are, like, that light that Christ gives you, that whole entire thing, who you are in the midst of all that. Because, it's easy if you were going to go ahead and just, be completely depressed and everything that's happening. But, to know that there's something bigger or an opportunity, that's amazing. And now you're going to be starting for the Edmonton Elks. I mean, this has got to be, you're playing professional football. It's, it's no joke. And especially in Edmonton, where they're crazy about their football.
No, for sure. No, it's a blessing, man. So I spent a year out of football, actually, because I came out, like I said, 2020, but that whole year was just a dud, basically. But I played in this developmental league called the Spring League, which a lot of guys play in and get opportunities. And I actually played in one game. So the Spring League is like weeks upon weeks that you're there. And they asked me to come down in the beginning, but I declined because I had just started my new job. And in some ways, I was kind of not done with football, but kind of looking towards, okay, hey, life might have to start for me. And the last week, the head coach, Peter Voss, called me and said, look, we have this offensive tackle. He just got signed by an NFL team. We need a guy to play this last week. So, I was like, hey, I'm your guy. So I literally flew down there the next day and practiced for a whole week and played in the Spring League for that last game. Did pretty well. And Edmonton called me a couple weeks later, and then next thing you know, I'm in Canada. So, it's definitely a crazy journey. But I'm thankful for every inch and every step. It's definitely molded me into the man that I'm supposed to be.
Now the thing is that, like, I know there's a few of my American friends, they dog on the CFL. I'm huge about the CFL because to me it's an identity. We have the Rouge, we have 3 downs, so fields wider and longer. But the thing is, though, is that the CFL is almost like it's as important to me as it is as hockey, because it's like, it's an identity. It's an identity for Canadians. And then you look at some of the talent that's come out of the CFL going up to the NFL. I mean, no joke. I mean, there are some people that have come out of here and have become legitimate superstars,
No, for sure. I mean, if people, disrespect the CFL, and they just don't know football. I mean, because at the end of the day, football is football, and there's some good players. Coming from NC State, I've seen a lot of, good players that are doing well in the NFL. So, I mean, I can definitely have somewhat of a gauge of, who's who and, the talent-wise. But, I mean, there are guys who are in the CFL who are just as good, if not better than some NFL players. There's just a lot of politics that are surrounded around these leagues. But the CFL has talent, and they're definitely good players in the CFL, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, so my only thing is that you're not playing for my Argonauts, but that's okay. That's all right. But the thing is, though, is that you're going to be playing in Edmonton. The West goes crazy for CFL football. I mean, I know that. I know Toronto, because there's so many sports that are in Toronto, it gets caught up in it all. But there's still people show up to the games. Montreal, they've always had their problems in the last little bit, but they're still like avid people coming down there. It's just weird because it's all in French. It's just like,
Yeah, I've heard.
but yeah, well, you'll see. You'll see.
I've heard.
But like, with the CFL, was it something getting used to? Like now 3 downs. What is this rouge? What are these things? What are these different things that are happening?
Well, I mean, to be honest, when I watched, so like I got signed in the middle of the season, and honestly, up until that time, I didn't know much about Canada. Like, I didn't even know that it was that cold in Edmonton. Like literally a couple of days before, I was like, let me look up the weather, and I was like, wow, it's like 30 degrees out there. Let me pack some coats and pants. I didn't even know it was that cold. But I showed up and I went to the first game, and honestly, I didn't even understand the rules as far as like the field goals and things like that. I didn't really understand that, but as far as like the basics of football, I mean, like it's still football. I mean, the defense is a yard off the ball, and there's some stuff going on in the background, with the receivers and the running backs. But all in all, it's still, it's still tackle football. It's still blocking. It's still catching and throws and kicks. So it's still the game of football, just
Right.
Canadian version.
Right.
Which actually, I didn't even realize the CFL was older than the NFL. I didn't even know that. So
Isn't that crazy? I know. It's crazy because I know back all the way up until I think the 60s, just before the Super Bowl era, there would be like an AFC or an NFC team playing one of the CFL teams there, and it was interesting. I mean, now they haven't done that since the Super Bowl era. Like they don't, the NFL doesn't have time for all that. But I'm still there going like, this is legitimate football that goes right into like November, pretty much into American Thanksgiving is when the Grey Cup is happening. And every Canadian is usually glued into this because it's like, hey, this is great. We get to see this. It's too bad Winnipeg won again, whatever. But like back-to-back champs. Yeah. But you're playing on a storied team there in Edmonton, and I'm very excited for you. I'm very excited that you get to do what a lot of people wish that they can do. That's live out the dream, playing the sport that they love. Have you watched any hockey yet?
Okay, so I was actually gonna go to an Oilers game my last week, and I ended up not going. I forgot why, because like some of my teammates went. I just ended up not. I think I was tired, but I ended up not going. But so we have. I don't know if you heard of the Carolina Hurricanes. Have you heard of them?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah. So like that's. Yeah. So the Carolina Hurricane Stadium is literally right beside the Carter Finley Stadium, which is the football stadium at NC State. So like people love hockey down here. So I've definitely seen some Hurricanes games. So I wouldn't say I'm a hockey fan, but I will say I definitely like the sport. I mean, I like it. They get to fight and stuff, so it's kind of cool.
Well, the funny thing is, like Carolina, they won a cup even, right? They already won one Stanley Cup, which is amazing for an expansion team. Yeah. But they're not really an expansion team when you think about it because they were Hartford originally. But here they come on, they win a Stanley Cup after a while. But I think what put them on the map was when Don Cherry said that their fan base was a bunch of jerks. And they just seem to embrace, they embraced that, and it's kept on coming. We're the jerks, a bunch of jerks. It's like,
that makes sense. I think that's one of their slogans.
Yeah.
I actually never understood that slogan, but now you explained it, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Don Cherry came out. They're a bunch of jerks, and it's like they just embraced that. It's like, okay, yeah, we're jerks.
I mean, they're crazy though. I mean, they like even when the games happen, like you see the fans like walking to the games. Like it's a lot of them, so they take the hockey serious.
Oh yeah. Well, this season they're no joke. They're cup contenders this season too. Oh yeah, they're doing amazing this season. They have the Leafs old goaltender over there, Freddie Anderson. He's having a great season over there. Sebastian Aho is amazing. I'm talking a lot of hockey, throwing a lot of hockey stuff at you. Sorry, but
you good. I probably need to learn a little more. I probably need to learn a little more about hockey. So.
Well, you should definitely take an Oilers game because the best player probably to play the game currently right now plays for the Edmonton Oilers there, and Connor McDavid. So it's like, although they're, I don't know, they turned it around. They fired their head coach. All of a sudden, they win 4 games, and the Pacific Division's a little weak, so they're back into the playoff hunt. So that's good for Edmonton, So yeah.
Well, I definitely will say Edmonton Oilers seems like the big team down there over the Elks. When going out like that, people love the Oilers, man. Everybody has the jerseys on and things like that. So hockey's a big deal down there.
Oh boy. I was just going to say, how do you feel about playing in Calgary? Because that's a bit of rivalry there with the Calgary and Edmonton.
In Alberta. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Luckily, actually, I didn't get a chance to see that game, but I'm definitely excited to dip into that, into that rivalry and see what we can do. But I think coming up this year, we have a great team and a new coach and a new GM. A new president, a new everybody. So
yeah,
it's kind of, go in there and go out there and see what we can do.
Well, I think last season was definitely some sort of turning point. I think for you guys. They changed the name, so it was just a whole bunch of things that was happening. COVID, you're just coming off of COVID. Yeah. But I think this year is probably going to be a good one for Edmonton. There's always, when you're moving in that kind of direction there, and I'm glad to see. I'm going to be following you, so looking forward to some highlights there for sure. I just, I'm not going to be cheering for Edmonton, but I'm going to cheer for you.
I respect that too.
All right. Just one last question I wanted to ask you here. What do you do in order to get ready to put yourself in the mindset to go out there and play this very violent, fast-paced game? What do you do? How do you get yourself prepared?
Mentally, I just first off, I kind of think about my game too. Just think about exactly what I have to do going into the game. But really, I just play some music, man, and just really think of things I've been through to kind of motivate me and push me to go get it, So I kind of think about the things I've been through and, when people, thought you weren't good enough or thought you couldn't do it anymore, I kind of use those thoughts to kind of fuel me and really go out there and, try to do what I can, because people, at the end of the day, the reality of life is some people are gonna sleep on you, some people are gonna look down on you, some people can't think you can do it, but that doesn't really matter. As long as you truly believe that you can do it and you believe in yourself and you can truly do whatever you want to do. And I think, I'm a living testament to that. Like I said, I got a lot of injuries and maybe like semester before my last year, a doctor potentially told me I wasn't gonna be able to play football anymore. And I'm like, dude, what? Like that's not no, I made it this far. I'm gonna keep going, and I really committed myself to the treatment room and staying in the treatment room, and got better. And like I said, here I am now. So you really just got to use that doubt to really fuel you and push through it and go get it.
Much respect on that, and I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the opening season there coming up. Looking forward to seeing you out there in the field, and maybe we can have you back on here as a guest again. Especially
maybe after we play Toronto and beat them, you can put me on. You can put me on here.
I might be angry, but I'll still bring you on. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking some time here just to spend with us and our listeners. Really appreciate it, Emmanuel. I think you're a testament to what God can do, with you. You believe in yourself and you believe that there is something that's supposed to happen within this. So to me, God bless you. I really hope you keep doing what you're doing. You keep trucking on. And I hope it's bigger and better for you coming up in the near future there.
No, man, look, thanks. I really appreciate it. Who would have thought that me turning around and talking to you in Toronto would with it turned to me being on the podcast. So look, man, I appreciate you, letting me come on your platform and speak about my story. So thank you.
Absolutely. Everybody is Emmanuel McGirt. Please make sure to look him up there. Okay. He's going to be playing for the Edmonton Elks. Have a look there in Edmonton area there. Don't sleep on these guys. They're going to be something. I'm not cheering for Edmonton, but I'll cheer for Emmanuel. But don't sleep on the Elks. All right.
All good.
Take it easy, my man.
All right.
And we are back. Everyone, hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with Emmanuel and Sean. Hope you guys learned some things from there. Sean, what was your big takeaway from that interview?
Man, I got to say right now, I mean, just the amount of really heartbreak throughout his career going up forward, like with injuries and such, and then with his pro day being kind of kiboshed due to COVID, not having a chance to really show a lot of his stuff, when he ended up stating that he had to walk away from the game. But he kept himself in his faith, that knowing that God had other things, he ended up graduating. He was thankful for all that, started another job, and then all of a sudden gets calls from a spring league to come back. And then finally, in the end, getting signed on with Edmonton. And I'm just looking for big things with him. He's 24, right? He's 24 years old. He's
still
young,
right? Yeah.
That's exactly it. And I don't know if you've seen him play, but he had this reel going on of all of his great blocks and such. And it's just like, I'm looking forward to him making some noise in the CFL. And Edmonton is a team not to sleep on this season. Like they got a whole new head coach, new quarterback. They have a new system going on. And if he's on that offensive tackle, he's going to be able to at least make some running lanes, I think, for Edmonton and keep that quarterback standing up. So, I mean,
yeah, his film was big. I don't know if you guys touched on this or not, but he won most physical coming out of high school. He was the nation's most physical offensive tackle or offensive lineman. That's like an award that he won, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hope we'll be back on. Man, we'd love to talk to you when you're here. I would love to talk to you. Hopefully, Sean did his proper by not blowing us up too much, but.
Yeah. And also, I mean, I understand, Emmanuel, you had to dog my Argos. I get it. But like I said, I'm not cheering for Edmonton, but I'm going to be cheering for you, buddy. You're class act in my book. Class act.
Yeah. I agree. But listen, you're the only one that roots for the Argos. I always root against them too. So, man, it was a good company.
Hey, man.
Moving on. Sean.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
There was something that happened this past weekend.
The Super Bowl, maybe the most watched Super Bowl in history.
Yeah. It
I
was interesting.
It was the most watched halftime show in Super Bowl history.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, I think the halftime show was more entertaining than the Super Bowl, quite honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think the game ended up being what we thought it would be, and we can talk about that in a second. But how great was the halftime show? Do you have any critiques at all?
No. Man, people are just horrid. I mean, 50 cents is now a whole $1. Like, come on.
That's really clever though, right? You gotta think that's
it
really
is,
funny.
but still, I mean,
it's mean, but it's funny, Sean.
He's like 50 years old, man. What do you expect? He's gonna look like?
Is he 50 already?
Yeah, he was like 30 when he did Get Rich or Die Trying, at least in that area, right? 28, 29. I mean, Eminem is 50 as well. Like
he's 49. Dr. Dre turns 50 today. I mean, they're all older, right? We get that, but I just thought I thought that it was fun that was the thing. They did him dirty by making him come up upside down like that. That just shows.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I understand why they did it. Is to mimic the video, but it's like 50. No. But that was a big surprise.
We have a disconnect. Yeah, we have a disconnect as a generation because we all felt like it was a young halftime show, but really we're the old people. We used to be like, "Oh, Aerosmith's so old. Why are they playing the thing?" But we're just that age now. Like that's what it is.
Hey, listen, I was just appreciative of it. They were on point. Snoop, even though I know he smoked a big fat blunt, was on point with everything there.
Come on. Was that a surprise to you?
No, not at all. No. He was on point.
I argue it's a surprise if he didn't.
Yeah.
He's been performing his entire life that way, right?
Yeah, he wouldn't mess up otherwise. Mary J. Blige was amazing, by the way. I thought that she was amazing. She hit what she had to hit there. I was really impressed. And there's a lot of people thinking that there should have been more M, but I thought that was the right amount of Eminem in there, and it was the right song. It was the right song.
The whole thing was top shelf.
Yeah,
My only critique is that those 64 should have been bouncing. That's the only thing I have to say. The low riders on the front, those things at some point should have been.
I hear that. I could feel that. I mean, people
they probably couldn't do it. It probably would damage the turf, right? That's probably why they didn't do it. But still for me, that's my only critique.
Well, if anybody wants to talk about it, the only thing that would have topped it is you brought out Tupac like in a hologram or something like that, But but
I don't know if that
was that necessary?
About a 10-minute, 8-minute show. Do you have time for that?
No, not at all. And that's the other thing too, is that I wish that they could have went longer. I wish they could have went longer because that was more entertaining than the game.
The football game broke up. It was, man, the game was interesting. I think, largely, I think the Rams were on a runaway until OBJ got hurt. And then it took them a little bit to get over that crutch. But then, man, that Cooper Kupp is all they had left. And how that last final drive, that was the Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp show. Sorry, Matthew Stafford, not Matt. Sorry, Matt. To you. Patrick and Patrick Mahomes both anyway. I'll stop. But how do you not guard Cooper Kupp?
How do you guard Cooper Kupp though? And that is the offensive player of the year. It's not an easy man to guard. And here's the thing: is that Cincinnati's defense was doing a great job. They needed some more rest, and Joe Burrows just couldn't give them any. He was 3 and out every time, 3 and out, and 7 or 8 sacks by the end of the game. So that's where it shows so you went after Jamar Chase, but you had nothing to solidify your O-line, and it showed in this game. It showed.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the final tape, but if Aaron Donald doesn't make that play and gets a sack, Jamar Chase is wide ass open for the game winner.
Saw that. And I remember yelling at the screen, though, because I just wanted him to get rid of it. And it just seemed like, I don't know if he wasn't aware that he was under that much duress and pressure. He wasn't moving. He just tried to stay in the pocket all the time.
He has a sprained MCL. Let's not forget that the last 2 series, he was playing on a damaged knee and could barely walk. So there is that.
There is that. I will agree with you. I mean, the Cincinnati's got no reason to feel.
If you go back and watch that last 4th down play, I think if his knee is healthy, he jets out to the right side to get those 3 yards and then keep going. He had no mobility.
Yeah.
But,
that's
why they play, right? But they're better with him in there at that speed than they are with their backup. And so they made the right decision to let him stay in. But
absolutely. I mean, Cincinnati.
We know now that his knee was sprained and banged up, it makes sense. I think, to be honest with you, I think Cincinnati has a better chance of getting back next year than the Rams do.
I do too. I mean, the Rams are going to come down like what you were stating. They have all this money now that they're going to have to be careful. Is Aaron Donald even going to come back? Because he was talking about retirement already. And I'm just like, wow, if he retires, that's a big piece gone, But I mean, people were there going,
$55 million question, though, Sean. $55 million question.
Yeah.
If you're Aaron Donald, do you walk away from $55 million?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, OBJ goes down and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, the Rams are in trouble. Are you kidding me? Are you forgetting?
But they were, right?
They were, but you're people seem to be forgetting who was on that defensive side. Who's on the offensive side? It's not like all of a sudden you're a one-trick pony. This is a team that was put together. Like Aaron Donald, Von Miller.
It was less of the loss of OBJ, and it was how the loss happened. I think that there was a mental crutch that Los Angeles took watching OBJ that happened to OBJ, because they all knew it was his ACL as soon as it happened, right?
Yeah.
Non-contact, that much pain. We kind of all did the math. So I think it took a while to rebound from it.
Absolutely.
But
overall,
at the same hand, it was super entertaining Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it went right down to the wire. Aaron Donald made the play. I'm sure there's nobody that was more happier than Aaron Donald making that play in order to solidify that Super Bowl.
Jalen Ramsey was more happy that he made that play.
Yeah, he got burnt a lot in that Super Bowl.
He was the burn on the end of the he fell down. So Jamar Chase got on top of him, and then Jalen Ramsey slipped. There was nobody covering Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase went around him, and then he tripped. Jalen Ramsey tripped, and so Jalen Ramsey is happier Aaron Donald made that sack because not a second.
The touchdown for St. Louis, for the Los Angeles Rams, just before, since he got the ball back, where it was all those little crazy penalties, it's just that's not really a penalty. But I understood why they called that one for PI, because they just totally forgot to call the other one in the beginning of the third quarter, where you see Jalen Ramsey just getting face masked. It's like they just they blew that call.
Oh yeah. That was a rough one.
But I thought they made it up with that. It's they have to do a makeup call, and the rest of it was it was a pretty well officiated game, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I thought it was a super good entertainment. I mean, it was one of the better Super Bowls in recent memory for sure. I thought,
Yeah, for sure.
It came down to what we agreed to be last episode, right? It's that a defensive play was going to seal the victory or hold the victory on. That's what happened. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Man, kudos to our brain trust is being together. Look at us.
I'm telling you, it was something else. Hey, you been paying attention to some hockey there? Some hockey?
No, I am in the Midwest where they do not care. They care less here.
They do not care. They do
I'm
not
lying.
care.
I've seen a little bit. You can tell me. You can tell me what's happening. I'll tell you what I feel about it.
All right. So Jay Woodcroft became the new head coach for Edmonton Oilers. They've won 4 games in a row. By winning those 4 games in a row, they're now in 3rd in the Pacific Division, guaranteeing themselves a playoff spot. Are they going to stay there? Who knows? But they're making moves, and if you have a look at it as far as goal differential and goals for, they're looking really good right now. Meanwhile, Montreal finally, I think they snapped their longest losing streak in franchise history there. I mean, yay Montreal. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It's such a gong show over there, and I was surprised. I know trade deadline's coming up. There's going to be some pieces moving left, right, and center. But
what flavor of Haterade are you drinking today, Sean?
Flavor what?
Haterade. What flavor of Haterade do you have today?
I have coffee flavored Gatorade.
Coffee flavored Haterade.
Brad Marchand's trying to get himself off that 6-game suspension there. Oh boy,
that's not going to work. We've all seen the video.
It was a little crazy,
right?
Yeah. But I mean, now we're coming close to the NHL All-Star Game, and no, we already passed the NHL All-Star Game. My apologies. NHL Trade deadline is coming up, and this is it. This is the last little bit of the season in order to make it, in there. But there's the season is at least entertaining this time around. I mean, besides Montreal not being really all that competitive, but overall, you're looking at.
I mean, it's not like, well, I guess if you have 6 teams in the league, it doesn't matter. But there's teams that suck.
Oh yeah.
You just like the dog on Montreal. That's all it is.
Is that it? Is that what I like to do?
I think you think that Ryan doesn't listen to our show and you're just going to get over on him. I think that's what you think.
Is that what I like to do? I mean, honestly, I'm looking. Florida is a juggernaut. I mean, they look so good. Calgary is a big surprise to me this season. Like the Flames, I was not expecting that. And it's just entertaining hockey right now. Like it seems to be like old 1980s hockey, because you're just seeing some crazy scores happening, and I'm just like, wow, what is all happening here? But I'm so glad that we're getting 82 games. I'm glad that Ontario and the rest of Canada is at 50%. Well, Ontario is all like 50% capacity, so people can go back to games again, because that was looking horrible for both NBA and NHL, because it was just horrible. You're playing a game in Toronto and it's like, 500 people. Yay! Very good.
Especially with your fans. They're not local.
Wow.
Anyway,
Man.
baseball's maybe going to happen. Maybe it's not. Owners is terrible. Support the players. Screw the owners.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Baseball cannot afford another strike season. They cannot.
No, they can't afford to be late. They can't afford to miss games even, let alone a full season.
It took them
You know,
so
they
long
already
to
had a
come
bit of a
back.
black. Well, yeah, and they had a bit of a black eye over the pandemic, but everyone got it. But if this is how it comes out, and all the information's out there that not treating the players fairly, and they've jobbed the players in the last 2 contracts. The last 10 years, the players have got the short end of the stick, right? So
Yeah.
the revenue is crazy. What the MLB is bringing in, and not sure.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I mean, even though if you have a look, like Tampa's not drawing them in, which is another weird thing, that Major League Baseball pretty much put the kibosh on Tampa playing half their games in Montreal. Is like, nope.
I think if they're upset about attendance, then they should either pressure that market to stack up, or they should just let the team move.
Yeah, I mean,
Why punish everybody else?
yeah. And Montreal could definitely, I mean, they want baseball back there for sure.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they got that terrible hockey team, so they're going to be fun.
I saw a meme about if Quebec gets another hockey team, then Montreal wants another one. It's
Like an A and B squad.
oh man, I don't know. I
You
mean,
get a C squad, and we'll see you later. So that's
you know what though?
Jeez.
Montreal's going to have to go through this. The Leafs have went through it so many times. Montreal needs to go through it, rebuild that team, rebuild that brand.
Every franchise in every sport goes through it. It's just part of the nature.
Yeah.
At least they just won. That's why the frustration's in. Great.
That's it.
Fine.
That's it. You know, but
John,
I'm looking forward to the
December.
Leafs. The Leafs are looking good. Austin Matthews looks great. I mean, Mitch Marner he got his 400th point. They look great right now, like absolutely great. Jack Campbell's coming back into his own. Seattle, hey, you guys are doing stuff. Come on, you
Yeah.
should feel good about the
We're competitive.
Kraken right now.
We're at least competitive.
You won 16 games, so you know you're doing okay. You're doing okay.
We're doing okay.
Doing okay.
That's all we expected.
You-
That's all we expected.
You know, you've
To be
won 7
competitive,
more
not to win.
games than Montreal.
Yeah, then the defending champs.
There
How
you
many
go.
games have the Maple Leafs won?
My Maple Leafs now have won 32 games.
Okay,
So
almost triple. Not a big deal.
yeah, it's. But here's the thing: like the Maple Leafs, between them,
Be unfortunate when the Kraken and Maple Leafs meet in the Stanley Cup and we beat you. That'll be unfortunate for you. That's
Wow.
what happened.
you had to go there. Wow, man. Well, that brings us to our
We all
one-on-one
know
question.
it's not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen because Montreal's not going to make the play. Not going to make the Stanley Cup final. If history tells us anything, it's that the Kraken have a better shot at making the Stanley Cup finals than the Maple Leafs do right now.
All right, we'll wait until the end of the season. I think the Leafs are going to surprise a lot of people. So yeah,
Like getting
Man.
out of the first round, maybe.
Listen, I
Anyway,
sound like such a homer
one-on-one.
every time I'm waving my Maple Leafs flag everywhere. I mean, I know it's unfortunately I grew up on the Maple Leafs. Okay, it's been
I'm
a
not
been a long
faulting you
road.
for being a homer. I'm just enjoy poking the bear. That's all.
oh man. All right, I guess this leads us to our one-on-one question.
It does. You go first
All right.
this time.
All right. So you were reading Perry Lefko's book about Eddie Olczyk.
Correct.
How far have you gotten in that?
A couple chapters.
Okay. So you have not got to, because that was my question. What do you think of Harold Ballard as an owner? He was the owner of the Maple Leafs. Harold Ballard was George Steinbrenner before George Steinbrenner. He was Jerry Jones before Jerry Jones.
Did he make a
And now this
play
question
shade
is going to mean
Awesome.
nothing to you because you didn't read into Harold Ballard.
I didn't know that there was homework associated with that, but that's I will say this. Anyone named Harold is probably about their money and only about their money. So am I on the nose there?
You're pretty much on the nose. I mean, he made some. I mean, you would think that the GM was in charge of that team. No. Or the head coach was. No.
No,
Harold
yeah.
Ballard. He had his fingers in everything.
And calling down to the bench during the game and telling them what plays to run and all that kind of stuff.
During practice, he'd be there and telling John Brophy, it's like, why isn't that guy getting the ice time? Why aren't you making this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he was basically writing up the lines. It's like,
so the rumor is, maybe it's not even a rumor, but is that Jerry Jones calls down from the skybox and was telling Jason Garrett what plays to run.
Oh wow, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
No one's surprised with that.
Man, well, my one-on-one question, that was it. It's okay though. I'll ask it again when you've read about Harold Ballard and
feels like a cop out, but okay, I'll do some research for the next time. My question is less sports related and more, as they tend to be more fundamentally set in, culture or hygiene or those types of things. Here's what I'd like to know: if you're chewing gum, right, and you are either drinking a beer or sitting down to eat, what do you do with that gum? Do you save it so you can put it back in when you're done with your meal, or do you throw it away?
That gum's done.
That gum is done. Flavor left? What if it has flavor left though?
What is this? That stupid 1960s song there? Does your chewing gum lose its flavor on the bedpost overnight? No.
I wasn't around in the 60s to know that song. I've never heard that until today. The answer is no, does not. Like, you don't have a piece of gum, like you just have got to the right texture and like the right chewing chompness, and then you just throw it away like it's trash.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what you do with gum, Brad.
I bet you just chew any kind of gum, don't you?
No. It's got to be spearmint. Come on now.
But any brand, though, right? You don't have like a specific brand.
Yeah, I'm not really married to like when I saw what's his face there, Sean Payton there on New Orleans, and it had to be juicy fruit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
Identify with that. Okay.
Well, I mean, I love gum. Gum's great, but
not enough apparently.
Listen, gum is just like buses. There's always going to be another piece. There's always going to be another bus.
Man, I like to get mine chewed in like just the right amount, so it's just perfect, just for like the right,
Are you the same with your underwear as well?
No, not at all. I change that for at least once a day.
Okay, all right. Like, even if you have a underwear that's just so form-fitting, but it's got holes, I don't care. I'm going to wear it still. Yeah.
No, I don't do that until I get a hole in the trash. Same with socks. I don't wear holes in my socks or my drawers.
Yeah.
Too proper for that.
Yeah. Well, somebody else now is watching.
If I get an accident and they have to like take my pants off, I don't want to be like, them to think less of me to save my life because like, oh, this guy doesn't give a shit. Look at him. Look at those holy boxers. I want real chest impressions and a good blood transfusion. You gotta be proper.
Look at you thinking in the future. Thinking.
It's all in how you show up, Sean. Dress for the service you want, not the service you deserve.
On that note, I think that brings us to another end of Guys Beer Sports.
Till next time, kids. Be good or be good at it.
Righto. I say righto.
Yeah, I kind of like that close.
You've listened to the podcast, but now it's time to visit us in our virtual sports bar. Get all of our info at guysbeersports.com, where you can find all the ways to connect with us. Watch for live conversations with Brad and Sean that happen throughout the week, and join in with your favorite local beer. You can share your thoughts in the conversation comments with your own uploaded videos, or even join us as a guest live commentator. The GBS Virtual Sports Bar is open for business. Come on in, boys and girls.